Okay, and we're going to get started here today with a very welcome guest, Martin Keady Senior, as I call him. Martin, you're welcome.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, George.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Martin, as you know, we're trying to get a record for Corrib Rangers of the origin story. I suppose the history of the club, get it down and help as we approach the 50th year of the club. And you were a key part of that, Martin, so it's great to have you here. We start off, I suppose, Martin, if it's alright with you, just your own background in football. I mean, it's very easy to kind of talk about the club and so on, but obviously you had some experience with football before you came to Corrib Rangers.
Oh, I had major experience playing football. I played with Corrib Rangers nearly all my life. We won several competitions, Connacht Cups, everything in Galway, wherever. But when I retired from Corrib Bohemians, I went up towards Corrib Rangers and I went in along there after a few years. But my full story with me moving into Corrib Park at the very beginning.
What year did you move in, Martin?
My family moved into Corrib Park in 1972. And at that time there was no playing facilities and guys in the area. And my friend was Per Ridge from down the road who also played for Corrib Bohemians. The estate resembled, as I used to say to people, a miniature entry racecourse, with all the gardens surrounded by small fences called open, planned by the council. The fences were used by all kinds of animals and small for jumping practice. There was also a few two-legged participants using them for a bit of fun. So hence if you visited Corrib Park at the moment you will find all different types of shapes of gardens, which everyone was different. Then the houses had no chimneys, so for electric heating residents could not cope and started installing fireplaces. My friend Per, a carpenter, myself a graphic designer and typesetter in the Connacht Tribune, decided to build our own. They were still in fine working order, so we must have done all right. No chimneys at the time. Electric heat. Per immigrated to America and his family, and later we kept in contact with when he comes home on holidays. There was a large circle of young children there at the time, and in 1975 Michael Corbett, assisted by his neighbours John Tierney and Eddie Casey, RIP, set up a soccer club and named it Corrib Rangers. Mike trained the team and had some great early success with them, and they went on to win several competitions. In later years, Mike was joined in the club by myself, Tom Lally, Tom Murray, Bridie Ford, Ann Lally, Bernie Kane and Pat Minogue. All of us made up a committee and we held our meetings in Bransky's, but we all called it Paddy Connors, the proprietor. I believe that Bridie and Ann, as Treasurer and Secretary, were possibly the first in those positions in any club in Galway, and maybe even in Ireland. They were excellent at their jobs, but unfortunately the same could not be said of them on the sideline, and they had a bit of a dislike for referees, so we had to confine them to the meeting rooms. Meetings were brilliant, and after the books were closed, the real meetings took place over a couple of drinks when everything was sorted. Speaking of the late Paddy Connors, he was a brilliant sponsor of the club. I remember several times him giving me a dinner and a pint after I finished training the boys and coming in drenched. I also think he invented the saying, buy one get one free, as every few drinks on commission nights were on the house. I stayed with the club for 17 years as a chairman, commission member and trainer. On the playing side, as a club we had some great teams and produced some top class players, and also had great success. Mike Corbett, Tom Lally and myself would start the under 12s and stay with the same team until 17. Then they would go on and we would go back down to the under 12s again. Personally, I had great times with the boys. I never called myself a coach, but a trainer. The reason being that I never had what they called badges. And also, I was more interested in the boys' enjoyment, attitude and fun, as well as playing football. It has been said that I lost more league titles by giving all the boys games instead of leaving the players with lesser ability on the line. I loved the training because the boys enjoyed it so much. I never believed in running the boys around the pitches, as we were running all day anyway. Instead, I would always teach them the skills with the ball, footwork, heading, passing, etc., and then have games amongst ourselves. Mike, I presume, would have been the same as me, but Tom was a real coach, and he was way ahead of us in this aspect, and probably ahead of most coaches in the town at the time. We had very little gear in the club. Several teams wore the same kit. Ladies in the area with club members and wives would wash the gear. I think one Christmas a few of them got £20 for washing powder for the year. Our income consisted of a few raffles, and then we introduced a small membership fee, but if a boy couldn't pay it, it didn't matter, they would be fine. One occasion we went upmarket and decided to have a social in the Bournemouth Hotel in Saltell. Problem was how to keep the boys quiet during the meal. We came up with a brilliant idea that Tom and myself would keep the boys in the foyer of the hotel and have a singing competition, with first prize of a new pair of boots, not knowing how we would buy the boots. We announced the winner of the song contest as a lad who didn't play, so we didn't have to buy boots. It took them a while to figure that one out. Transport to and from matches was a nightmare, as very few had cars. My car would take his whole team in his van, and Tom and myself would have to depend on neighbours. One of these was the great Peg Flaherty, R.I.P., who always seemed to be available. Others included Tom Murray, Rob Collins, R.I.P., John Tierney, Nolan McHugh and Pat Minogue, amongst others. I remember on occasion standing at the bungalow in Corrib Park with the gear, a couple of footballs to travel to the other side of town or further afield, and then send the boys around the houses asking for lifts to games. I can say we were never left standing there. Brilliant neighbours who appreciated the work that was being done for the children of the area. Winning was never my priority, as I firmly believed the players' enjoyment and friendship were more important, and thank God they instilled this policy into themselves. If we lost a game, it would never talk about it at training, but just got on with the next game. Of course the club won several competitions, and I don't intend to try and remember them, but I have to tell of one of my favourite cup wins was an under-12 team. We qualified for the final as league toppers, and were down to play Attenry in the final. First and second always played the final at that time. The game was fixed for Turland Park, and the lads were over the moon going to play in Turland. However, during the week I had a visit from the manager of the Attenry team, asking me would we play them in Attenry, as it would be a huge occasion for them, and they would provide a marquee minerals, potatoes, sweets and sandwiches after the game. We had defeated them in the league, so I felt pretty confident. But when I gathered the boys around on the west side pitch to tell them I was agreeing to go, they were furious. I spent almost an hour sitting on the grass, telling them how good they were and that Attenry were only learning. Eventually they agreed and thankfully won, and the Attenry public were high in their prayers for us, and the boys had a ball. We had of course some wonderful players in the club throughout the years, and I will be forgiven for not naming them in case I forget, and I would be devastated. However, I will mention two particular memories that I feel I need to say. One is of my very fond memories of a boy from Coogan Park named Damien McElroy, who passed away a few years ago. Damien was a brilliant goalkeeper and a real bubbly character. He was so good that when I was manager of the Galway District League under 14 Keady Cup team, Damien was our first choice keeper, with the great David Ford as his understudy. May he rest in peace. Another occasion that sticks in my mind was a Galway United game against Finn Harps in the Division 1 semi-final playoff game in Thailand, when they won 2-0. That United team included Robert Ford, Nigel Keady, Mike Quirk, Tony Folan and Barry Morgan, with Brendan O'Connor out injured. All of those players wore the Corrib Rangers gear at some stage. A proud moment for the club, and attendance of 3,000 at the game. Our club always concentrates on the development of players both on and off the field, and I feel that this occasion proved that we were successful on both counts, with over half the team being played for the club. Moving on, I remember the council providing a dressing room facility at the west side for ourselves and St Michael's. This was a huge thing for the club. Later on, I think St Michael's got their own room, and so we had this one to ourselves. It would be remiss of me in speaking of the dressing rooms and indeed the pitch grounds not to mention the great Johnny Concannon, R.I.P., the caretaker supreme, who always had the rooms and surrounding areas in pristine condition. Pat Minogue took over this duty after Johnny's passing, and he has continued since, doing Trojan work. At one stage the club was intended to go to junior football and apply to the Galway District League to enter. However, they were going by their rules, and rightly so, that we would have to enter in the 4th Division. We had a cracking team at the time, and would have been like putting Man United in Division 4 of the English League, so we declined, and the players dispersed to other clubs. When I think back, we might have given it in too easily, and if we held constructive talks with the FA, they might have let us into a higher division, as we were certainly too good for the lower division. Later there was a junior team in the Chantilly area called Old Ground. They approached us re an amalgamation, And following meetings, it was decided to go ahead. The club was called Corrib Rangers Old Ground, and personally I knew that that name would never last. And it was eventually just called Corrib Rangers, and it is to this day. I used to say to the boys at work when they were typing match reports and the name wouldn't fit on the line, just put in Corrib Rangers. Don't think that it was ever coughed onto. I presume that many other people will be contributing to this book, and I would like to thank your band for including me as a contributor. As I said previously, I don't wish to name individual players, as they were all stars in my eyes and will probably be mentioned by others. All of the people at that time worked on a voluntary basis, and I can categorically say that the fun, friendships and enjoyment for us meant far more than any monetary reward. Friends for life were made and continue to be so. Nothing rewards me more to this day as I walk through the west side and so many people say, "How are you, Martin?" or as some say, "Mart." Sometimes I don't know who they are, but they know me, a great feeling. Then I could be in somewhere having a pint and one appears in front of me. On inquiring where it came from, they would say, "The lads at the counter." Several occasions I have to go and ask them who they are, but as soon as they would talk to me, I would remember they were Rangers. When we go through so many boys over 17 years and they all grown up, it's hard to remember them all, but they remember me. True gentlemen. I relinquished my ties with the club some years ago, as did many of the old guard, but we still talk about the Rangers and we wish the new regime future success. It's one of the hardest things to do and organise and run a club, but if you enjoy it as we did and have the crack, then it would be a little easier. If I was to end without a special mention of Mike Corbett for starting the club, I would regret it forever, and great times I had because of my involvement with his club. I am not one for giving advice to anyone regarding football, but I do think that Corrib Rangers should now focus on the youth structure of the club with their excellent facilities. The game has completely changed now with coaches, systems, playing in the 6, 8 and 10, whatever that means. I would like to see the club bringing in class coaches at underage level, and they will, with the proper beginning, work their way to the top and get the club to the summit of local football where they deserve. Apologies once again for not naming great Rangers players and people, but hopefully other contributors will have done so, and I try to concentrate on the running of the club and the crack. Thanks again to Ger for giving me the honour of penning this piece about the club. I wish the club every success for the next 50 years.
Okay, Martin, so what I just want to get is a sense of what Corrib Park was like, because it's my memories are Corrib Park being developed, the roads, everything, infrastructure, Westside Shopping Centre. But when you and your family started out in 1972 in Corrib Park, what was it like?
Well, it was very populated by young people. It was all young families moved in there. It was all loads and loads of kids around the place, but they had no facilities and nothing for them. So most of the people that moved in were young couples, and a lot of the lads that were there, a lot of the husbands, a lot of them were still playing football, either soccer, Gaelic or something, and they hadn't much time to give to the kids.
Yeah, so there probably was only a couple of football teams in Galway City at the time.
Yeah,
Bowes, Hibs, Merview and so on, but in this side, where would kids go?
They had no place to go, because you see, they came from, when the families came to Corrib Park, they all came from every area in Galway. So all the kids' parents were from different areas.
Yeah.
Some of the fathers were playing for Bowes, some were playing for Hibs, some were playing for Merview, but they all ended up in Corrib Park. So all their kids then started playing for Corrib Rangers, which was a good thing, because it could have happened that, the likes of myself or lads from Corrib Park that had children, they could have said, "You're going to play for the team I play for," but thankfully none of them ever did.
Yeah.
We all let them play for Corrib Rangers.
So in a sense, it kind of happened nearly organically, in that there were so many young kids there that they had to go somewhere. So
it just happened, and as I said before, Mike Corbett got them, and they all just gathered around them and started playing for them. And after a few years later, then we moved in trying to help them out, and the teams were getting better and better. And as I said, personally, winning meant nothing to me. And
even in the very early days, I mean, was there even a pitch for them to train in those early days?
No. Where the new pitches go on at the minute,
yeah,
that used to be, and there was a big hill each side.
Yeah.
And if it was raining, the place was flooded.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't raining, it was great crack, because all the young girls, and it was the teams that time were 11s and 12s. I used to just go over watching them because I wasn't involved that time. Mike was, but all the girls would be up on the hills with their banners, Rangers and all that, and the
Stop.
kids would down playing. It was great. Great crack. Like. Oh yeah, that's the truth. It was great crack, you know. So they're upmarket now, they have everything. You know.
Yeah.
They had nothing that time.
Yeah. But isn't Mike was saying that the parents used to come down to be picking the stones up off the pitch and all sorts of...
We used to go around the pitch, the parents used to go strong. We'd help them doing that.
Yeah.
We'd walk the pitches.
Picking the stones off the pitch.
You pick stones, glass, you name it.
Yeah.
And it was on the pitch, we'd walk and try and pick it up and
make sure that the players were going to be safe going out there. And of course they were like the first ever teams to play for Corrib Rangers. I mean, Mike was talking about picking colours for the team, putting a name on the club, all these things. I mean, it's fascinating to think of it. That's 50 years ago, but all these things have to start somewhere. Yeah. You know, so you have all these young kids, and Mike's willing to get stuck in there and do his bit of training. They have a small bit of a pitch going. And from there then, I suppose, they had to go in with the GOFA and decided to go and kind of make things a bit more official.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But as I says, when I moved up there first, I was still playing junior football. Was Bohemians, a really very successful team. We were a good team at the time. And Bose decided to try and get a juvenile section.
Okay.
So I said I'd give them a hand out with the juvenile section. So we got a few lads from around the Keady and the West area.
And just for anyone who wouldn't know, where would Bose have been based, Martin?
No, we never had a base. We talk up Mill Street, and the clubhouse was down Mill Street where the St. Vincent de Paul have the place now.
Yeah.
But we had no base. The lads were from Sligo, Limerick and all from Galway. It was more a lot of them from Bowmore and different places, you know,
so
Shantil and all
representing
that.
the city.
Oh yeah. But then when we started, I helped out with the juvenile, just tried to start a juvenile team. And we got the players, a few ladies from back the West and back Claddagh, the Cordons and a few of them lads back around the Claddagh and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we only lasted one or two matches or a few matches. And personally, I was kind of being left it on my own, and I says, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And I was gang of young ladies up in my own estate.
Yeah.
So I just packed in and I stopped playing football and I came up and I joined in Corrib Rangers as a trainer, as I said, not a coach.
Yeah.
I was never a coach.
Yeah, you said that, and there was a guy there, Parridge.
Parridge, yeah, he was my buddy. He played for Bose as well.
Okay. And was he from Corrib Park as well?
Yeah, he lived in Corrib Park there,
Okay.
just down the road from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy that built the chimney with me.
Right.
We built 2 chimneys and none of us had a clue what we were doing. But he was a carpenter, he had a good idea, but I hadn't a clue.
But it's still working anyway.
They're still working.
Yeah. And
but,
so he came in and you came in and the two
yeah,
of you
Pa
were just
didn't come into Corrib Rangers.
Okay.
No, Pa was a real Hibs man.
Yeah.
Even though he was playing for Bose. He was from Bowmore, same as myself. But I never played for Hibs, Pa did. And he went back with the Hibs juniors at Nimmo, but then he immigrated to America with the family.
Yeah.
And he's still over there. He comes over and visits the house and
Brilliant.
go crack. But
yeah.
no, I
So-
went in and Tom Lally, and
Yeah.
you know, so that was basically it. And
Eddie Casey you mentioned.
Eddie Casey, I didn't know Eddie that much. He lived down near my Corbett. He passed away a few years ago now as well. And John Tierney. Well, none of them knew much now about football. If they hear that, they'll kill me.
Yeah.
But they didn't. You know, none of them were really involved in sport.
So
but
what was
Mike's
their role?
neighbours
What was their role? Just
to help out Mike.
Yeah.
That was it. I couldn't sit on that thing, like, but we'll probably do what Mike told him to do.
yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, they'd probably look after the gear. So there was another Mrs. Kane up the top of Corrib Park, and she used to wash all the gear for Mike.
That's right.
And he had to have her up at a certain time and all that kind of stuff. If he hadn't, she wouldn't do it. So there was loads of people around,
Yeah.
you know.
Miss Keogh and the Keogh shop then. And
Miss Keogh, yeah, but not much about Miss Keogh now. My favourite lady of the whole setup, going back then, would be Peg Flaherty. Shane Flaherty, and then his dear man.
Right.
She was unbelievable.
Right.
You know,
In what
unbelievable.
sense? What
Car. She'd take 7 or 8 kids in the car, bring them to tune, bring them to Rye, places like that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it wouldn't be organised. As I
Not
said,
sure.
you'd be standing there and you'd have 2 or 3 footballs and a big bag of gear.
Unreal.
Half washed the gear and half smelly and all that. But
Still damp.
then you'd be standing there, and then I have said all the team here, and have someone say, yeah, well, you go around, knock at them doors and see can they bring us to the match. And that's how we used to go. They'd bring us.
And you were saying to me one day that there must have been about 8 people in the car one day, and
Yeah, well, I can't
two sitting
record
up
that.
your lap. You know, unbelievable. Like,
I can't record that part,
Uh,
but it was a good laugh.
yeah, I actually spoke to another neighbour of yours, Tommy Murray, and I was trying to get
Yeah.
Joel to come in,
Tom's a
Tom,
partner.
and he says to me, "Jar, I don't remember last week, all right, 50 years ago."
Thomas still goes to the matches.
Yeah.
And the daughter went on the committee for a while.
She did, yeah.
Could be still on it, I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I don't know who's on it now at the minute, right now. I have to go up and watch them training.
Yeah.
I stand and watch them train on the AstroTurf. I
Why?
don't get involved.
You just still have a real
I just
interest.
like Rangers,
you love and an interest in the football in the area and
just
everything.
like to see them keep going, looking after the kids and all that. That's the be all in of the whole thing, like.
Yeah.
And as I said, my thing on our Corrib Rangers is the kids to say how you marked.
Yeah.
And their parents. And as I said in that, sometimes they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But they know who I am, and that's a great reward.
Isn't it lovely, isn't it?
It's a great reward for anyone to get.
The other guys who I was chatting to, it seems like there's a real sense of the club as a community right from the very start. So like whether it's getting the lifts to matches or even just trying to kind of, picking stones up off a pitch, it was always kind of a community endeavour. Would you agree with that?
But they had to come along because, the parents in Corrib Park, it's not just Corrib Park, like it was Coogan Park and up around when Coogan Park was built in, the later years there. Everyone started helping, you had to. Because if you didn't get no help, you couldn't have a team, you couldn't have a game, but, we used to travel to matches. Mike and Tom and myself would travel to matches on our own, which you shouldn't have done, you wouldn't be allowed to do it now. But we travelled down to Mayo and places on our own on the bus and, if you've done it now, like, you'd probably be arrested for it.
Yeah. But once you came in then, and Tommy Lally, as you said, he was doing a bit of coaching and things like that, but more and more teams, things need to be a bit more organised. So a committee was formed then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And how did that work? Or where did you meet? Or can you give us a sense of that?
Where did the committee meet? Oh, it was in Bransky's.
Yeah.
Just around the table, had a chat, and as I said, the two girls, Bridie and Anne, was secretary and treasurer.
That's Bridie Ford now.
Bridie Ford was treasurer and Anne Lally was secretary, and I'm convinced to this day, like, they were the very first ever in Galway that you'd have a woman, a lady secretary and treasurer at the same time of a club. And I think it could have possibly been the first in Ireland, that's what I think of myself. But, and we're good, we're very good.
There's not good gender balance now in all these places, which you were ahead of your
time. As I said, they started getting into shouting at referees and stuff, so we had to tell them to stay at home and go to the meetings instead. But the meetings used to be great crack.
Yeah.
Paddy Connors was a great man, great sponsor of the club as well.
And what were the things you'd be organising, or what were the issues at the time?
What we used to do was the issues at the time was how could we get any more gear? How do we get gear? Who was going to watch?
Where did you get gear?
Who was going to go? I think Mike got someone to buy the first gear or something. But from the 12s to 15s they wear one set, and 15s to 70s they wear another set. They'd all wear them. You'd be washing them. They'd be half damp going on their team and everything. But the lads didn't care. They loved them. They just all they wanted to do was play.
Yeah.
And I think we all. I know I'd asked you, and I think the boys were the same. I couldn't talk for them, but my asked you there was 20 lads there, and I was looking after 20 lads. They were all going to play.
Yeah.
I didn't care, and I had good players, and I often had better players, way better players on the line than the lads out there, but it didn't bother me. I just wanted them to play. There's no point coming down, running around the West Side pitch, learning how to play football and everything else, and then on a match day stand on the lines beside me. I didn't believe in that. I didn't care if we lost in it. And I told young fellas that all along, and they seemed to, they said, right. They never called me Mr. Keady because I wouldn't let them. They always called me Martin. They said, right, Martin. I would never let them call me Mr. Keady. I was one of them, and that was it.
And that was probably a great life lesson for them as well.
Oh, yeah.
About, like...
But as I said there too, about socials and different things, we used to call them up to their eyes. Like. I mean, I used to call them in training. I stand on the halfway line and I have them on the goal line. And I said, $5 for whoever wins the race, or £1 for whoever wins the race. Should I take off? Should I have the pitch gone before they were starting? But they never said nothing.
Yeah.
They just were trying to pass me out, but they couldn't pass me out.
Tell us about, you mentioned that you had a social.
Oh, yeah.
What
the
was
Bournemouth Hotel.
The what?
The Bournemouth Hotel.
The Bournemouth Hotel.
Where the cinema is now, I think it's the hotel.
Out in Salt
It was right beside it.
So you were getting notions now at this stage.
Well, I don't know, something came up, or did we win something, or something happened.
You'll kill me now, but roughly what year?
Oh, yes, I don't know. I haven't a clue. I wouldn't know. Someone else would know. But the committee, you see, had to go in and sit into dinner.
Yeah.
with all the parents and everything else that came. So
like it was for the club, marking an annual celebration or whatever, and let's say there was a cup there, but parents were invited.
Oh yeah.
The kids, everybody invited.
Yes, it was packed. But we didn't know what to do then, because we said if these guys go into the dinner, they'll be firing stuff around the place. So we came up with the idea, that we keep them out in the fire. So I think Mike was chairman at the time, so he went in for the dinner with the women and the rest of the committee, and myself and Lally had the other guys out there. So Tom was the trickster, Tom was slagging them, but they all sang songs which was awful funny. You know, they were singing, they thought it was definitely going to get a pair of boots. But they weren't going to get nothing.
What was that?
Huh?
So to keep them out there, he told them.
But we told them whoever won the song contest to get the pair of boots. Now these guys were 50, 60, like. Some of them were old enough, like. I won't tell you the name of the young fellow we picked the one.
And they bought it. They bought into it.
What, they were all singing. They thought they were brilliant. And there was people going in and out of the hotel, checking in at the counter and everything else. They were looking over. So they was just gone crazy, but it worked out, like. It was good crack.
Yeah.
You know, so we picked the young lad. I won't tell you his name now, it'll be unfair now. But we picked him as the winner, and they were all clapping for him and everything. A great crack.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to buy no boots because he didn't play football.
So you made sure it was someone who didn't play.
Tom said we'd pick your man because he doesn't play.
Oh, lads.
You're on a Tom Laddie to think about, like.
Huh?
You're on a Tom Laddie to think about.
You were ahead of your time. But you talked there about Miss Flaherty and going off and getting lifts to local games and things like that. Yeah. But then I'm sure there was games a bit further afield then, and you'd be getting buses and stuff.
Get the bus,
loading up and getting all that booked and getting the excitement of all that. But then must have been, like, say, the first match is going off on a bus, like, and things like that. It must have been great fun.
It was great fun, but we never had anything, you know. And Tom convinced. I think it was another 15 or 16 team now. It was a few of the good lads were playing now at the time, good players. But I think we're going up as far as Ackle.
Jesus.
A long way to go.
Yeah.
And again, we says, what are we going to do for food?
Yeah.
So Tom told them that if they wanted to progress in football, that the thing they could have was a mare's bar and a banana.
For the day out there.
Before the match, and that was it. And then we came back again, they had something to eat at home.
Oh my God, imagine.
Yeah. And they never minded, like. Now they go to the shop on the way back and buy their own stuff, you know. We used to say to them, try and pay for half the stuff you get, you know. They used to laugh at us. But they were good lads, they wouldn't do nothing, you know. But, you know, we were watching them in the shop, and you didn't have to watch them, they were good lads.
Yeah.
They were good lads.
They wouldn't get caught.
But we used to always say to them going in the shop, try and pay for half the stuff you get now, lads, you know. But
and then, was there a trip? Did you go overseas at some stage?
Oh, they went to Liverpool.
Year, roughly, Ma Martin.
That was again...
Well, we'll work this out now.
The 90s. No, the 90s, because 90 was 12, he wasn't playing, it was another 16 or 17 team.
So, early 90s.
I went to Liverpool. Is that still recording?
Yeah.
Because it was a disaster, but I don't know.
Why?
Well, we had a match over, we won, but...
so, like, I mean, there's a lot... I mean, if you had to organise a trip to Liverpool now, it's an event, like, so back then...
John Tierney organised it, but as again, we hadn't Bob. We travelled to Larne, up the north, and went over by boat.
Scenic route. Because it was probably the cheapest way.
We're at the match, and Paddy Grant was with us.
So you went to a game?
Oh yeah, I went to Liverpool and QPR.
In Anfield?
QPR bet them, and the lads were nearly all crying. But Paddy Grant was there with Tom Murray. I don't know, we met Steve Highway over there. He was coaching underage Liverpool team or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we won the match, but that night we were out somewhere. In our
so you played a game as well over there when you were over there. The lads went over, went to Liverpool QPR and then played a match. Yeah. Who did they play, or what was the...
Played some Liverpool reserve or kids academy team or something like that. I think Highway was over them or something. Yeah, something to do with them now, as far as I recall. But our place was robbed that night. It was broken into. It was kind of a hostel we were staying in. It was broken into, so we had to hike up and get over there the following morning because we didn't know what was going to happen. Was going to get rougher or what. Like, we reported all the stuff missing, and but it wrecked the trip on us, really, you know, ruined the trip on us. But if you could say it ruined on them for us, but I know.
Yeah.
There's a few bits taken on them, I think, and stuff like that. But
So it was an eventful one.
oh yeah, so that was the only one trip I was on with them, I think.
Yeah. Still to try and organise something like that back then, like that was some job. And sure, when you think about it, like that would have been the first trip that any of them probably was going on.
Yeah,
And
I'd say so.
you know, when you think about the costs and the travel documents or whatever,
Yeah,
you know, packing the bag.
They were good lads, no, good lads. That was a good
Yeah.
time that time as well. But
Yeah. And then when you
my corporate, I think, brought them to Bradford once,
yeah, he probably did.
under 12s.
Yeah.
That was when my Martin was on 12, that'd be in the 80s now, I'd say.
In the 90s,
Yeah,
yeah.
90s. So.
I suppose then, as the club progressed, Martin, you're in the leagues now and you're becoming a rival for different, you know, you're becoming, in a sense, like the growth of the team. It's not just fielding aside, now it's coming into the competitions and, and trying to win. So the focus is kind of changing. The guys are, as you said, Tommy Lally's in there and he's trying to coach it and you're trying to manage them. And how did that go then over the coming years then when you were getting into it then? And
It was much the same always, like, you know, we, as I said, you know, we progressed and the teams were getting better, you know, we're getting more players, and then I think Newcastle started up and they were getting a lot of players, and the better players seemed to want to go to Newcastle, and it was that kind of a situation.
What was that situation? What was that dynamic? Or?
I don't know, my brother-in-law was over the Newcastle team, but I don't know, just people seem to want to go there, I don't know, but our regular lads stayed with us always, like, you know, but as I says, I don't know what the reason was, but we still had a good team, we still had a great team, like, you know, but that time, as I said there a while ago, when you had a league competition, whoever finished top played whoever finished second in a final, and we had an awful habit of finishing on top and then probably get beaten in the final.
Right.
No, not often, but it did happen to us a few times, like, you know, we finished, I think I remember 1 or 2 matches, we'd finished the league 5 or 6 points ahead, and then we got beaten in the final, you know, but it didn't happen that often, but when it did happen, it was a sickener, you know.
Yeah. But it must have been great. Like, I know you did say that yours was about, your ethic was about inclusive and making sure everyone played and was looked after. But it must have been a sense of pride having the club from the start and now starting to get to the top of these leagues and winning these things. And you're looking around saying, Jesus, these are all our own gang. Like, certainly claimed your spot, didn't you?
We had great teams, as I said, you know, great teams, but we used to do that now. I'd have 11s and 12s, and then you keep going. I go with that same team.
Yes.
Up to 18, 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And then when they go, I go back down to a new under 11 team and go back up again with them. And Tom and Mikey do the same. So we had the same bunch of fellas from 12 to 18.
Yeah.
The same fella.
Yeah.
Then you go back down and you start off with the little fellas again. You say, oh.
Yeah, and you'd have probably a real connection with them guys by the time they're 17, 18.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have spent years with them.
Yeah.
That's
what I said. Even
that's
now,
why, Martin.
You know, as I said, I'd be going downtown, I see fellas to be shouting at me, I don't know who to be.
Yeah.
But they know well who I am, like, you know, just come over
But
to
you'd
me.
never forget you after you've given them all them years.
The same with Mike and Tom, I presume, like, you know, I don't know, but I know my own personal feelings with them, like, you know, and I love them all, I just had great crack with them.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, I was always there for the crack, you know.
Yeah.
I remember time up training, we were training, like, and you know, the west side pitch in the middle, we used to be in the middle of the west side, you see, and I spot some fellas on the far wall, coming over the wall. They could be from Newcastle or Salt Taylors and that. They were managers of the other teams, like.
Okay.
And I used to spot them, and I had a great time for 3 boys, Colin Murphy, Ian Grealish and Derek O'Loughlin. They used to be my trainers with me, like. They had them for the town team, and he used to give me a hand with the Corrib Rangers team in odd time, you know. But more than amazing with the town team. But I see these guys coming, so I'd stop the game or whatever we're doing. And I say, right lads, half each side of the pitch, and start playing rugby. So we're throwing the ball to each other and tackling, and the crowd would come up to see what was happening. They just left again. They said, this guy is nuts.
Yeah. You didn't want anyone
I
being
would let them
coached.
see that, and I just let them up. I just keep throwing the ball around, fellas there, watch you, don't mind.
So you had an involvement then with the Galway town teams then through Galway FA?
Oh yeah, on the 14 Kingley Cup team, whenever that was, 92 I think, something like that.
How did you get tangled into all that then?
Well, they asked me to look after the team. That was a very funny story as well. Like, he was going off the Corrib Rangers, but the guy I had, I got nothing from them, because I was like that at the time. If I was looking after something, I wanted to do it myself. You know, I kind of was a bit of an idiot, but I got a set of gear off Tom O'Connor's electric because the daughter was working there, and I got a set of gear off the Tribune. So I had 2 sets of gear going to Limerick, and Colin and Aidan and Derek was coming down with me. And people in town were saying, how do you get that job? Like, and he's bringing those guys down. I'm dead. What do they know?
But they were young at the time.
Oh yeah, they were only 19, 18.
Yeah.
But they were gentlemen. They looked after the kids like they were their own. Young fellas.
And I think that the 3 of them stayed in coaching in some way or another.
Well, Derek did, and Colin went coaching game, went to America.
And
I don't know where Aidan is. I think he's down in Castlebar somewhere or something like that. But he was coaching as well, private.
Yeah.
But they were great lads, like. You know, great lads. But I remember, never forget, the start of the following season, I was working. And I won't mention names again, but I was wanted at the counter in work. And there was a fella from the Galway Juvenile Committee. And he says, where's the gear, he says, for the Keady Cup team? And I says, what gear? He says, the gear, he says, you had last year. So I said, that was my gear. I know, he said, but he said, it belonged to the Galway. I said, it belonged to him. I said, I got it. He said, but where is it? I said, I gave it to the players. Which I did. I gave them all the gear.
Oh yeah, they get to keep their jersey.
Yeah, I gave them to keep the whole lot. And also,
jeez,
some of them got sick down at the thing. They got food poisoned and put our team down. Because we had a great team, great town team. So I was hurt for them. And I says, I have to do something. So I went down to Richard Quinn's in Downey Street, Jewellers. And I asked him, would he print medals, Keady Cup 1992 or whatever it was. I'm not sure what year it was. And I said, 20 medals. I says, I can't pay you because I have no money. And he says, I will, of course, I do them, and I'll put them in little cases for you. So I said, that's great. So I went up to Fatty Connors, asked him would he put on a bit of a slap-up meal upstairs in his place, Fatty Connors. And I invited all the parents of the young lads who was playing, and I got a fella to present them all with a medal, Keady Cup, as if they won it.
No way.
Yeah.
Just to recognise
that they played and all that. Dave Ford and Damien and all the boys were playing.
Their generation.
Yeah. But we played with all from a review, so I came all the parents to come in. But that time I forgot the plan about keeping the young fellas out because there was peas flying all over the place during the meal. So they were firing peas off the spoons.
Yeah.
But it was good crack.
And I bet they still remember it too.
I got a fella called I think his name is Dave O'Connell. He used to be with Newcastle. He was Dub.
Yes.
I got him to present him with the medals up there.
Yeah.
He was delighted. He thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And the kids thought it was great.
Yeah.
You know, they had the medal as if they won it. You know, it was Keady Cup, such thing. Didn't say they were latched or runners up or nothing. It's just as Keady Cup. And Paddy Connors didn't charge that for the food, nothing.
Yeah. He was decent.
So I got everything free.
Yeah.
I was a kind of a bum, like.
Well, you were giving it back in your own way, weren't you?
Well, you just put in a thing. You put in a bit for the area, and that was it. You know.
Yeah.
Try and help out the area. You know.
I get it.
Be what it is today now, only for all them people. You know that's helped out.
But you mentioned a very interesting one there about town teams, but we're talking still about young players from the area and the history of the areas in regard to young footballers. And of course, Damien McElroy, God rest him, but he was ahead of David Ford, who went on to play for Ireland.
Oh yeah. Well, he was ahead of him on my team.
Yeah.
In the Keady Cup, you know, that was just the way. Now, Ford, he could have came in as
yes, of course,
you know.
yeah.
But Dave Ford went on to play for Ireland. Like,
yeah, but doesn't that show the level that those guys were at? Like,
yeah, they were top players now, top players.
Yeah.
You know, that was a very, very good team. But as I said, they did get sick down there, and the boys were excellent looking after them now. There's Colin and Aidan and Derek were looking at them. They were very good.
Yeah. One second, no.
That's one of the players now. Yeah.
You're okay.
Now come off.
I'm just going to say, we're going to move on. And we're talking about, you don't have to mention players, but we're going to talk about developing players and kind of what you're putting in all this work and you're including them and so on. Where did you feel that these guys would go or could go, or what was there? People talk about a football pathway now,
Yeah.
But what was the kind of aim, or was there an aim?
Well, our aim always was, we always told them. You see, our aim was they used to go to 17 or something like that, and I think Mike brought his to 18s, I'm not sure, but I think always used to go up to 17s, and then we had no team after that, like. But we used to always say to them, keep going the way you are, keep going the way you are, join whoever you want to. But, you know, and we always said, your aim should be to play for Galway United. That's what we told them. Do you know? That was the aim. But one thing that, when I look back over it, sometimes we had so many players to play for Galway United. But if you look at the profiles of players from Corrib United, you know, and you look back and now you see all the lads that played for us, and you'll always see on it, joined Galway United from Corrib Rangers, joined Galway United from Review United. You know, this was after being 8-9 years with Corrib Rangers, and the club never got mentioned about that, you know, never.
Yeah.
And sometimes it annoys me, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. But I think it's important, certainly in an endeavour like this, that the club is recognised for the development of those players. And you named there earlier that it was a Galway United at one point had almost half of their team was from the club.
6 of them.
And at one point they nearly had a full back four and goalkeeper from Corrib Rangers. So, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, but as I said now, and I never went above board about it, but I often used to say, geez, I had that guy since he was 11.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see, you know, join Galway United from Review or Newcastle or Salt Hill, or, you know, they might have only played a season with them, you know. But that's the way it was, so it didn't bother me, like.
Yeah.
But when we were, I think it was down to 12s again, around the 90s again, the early 90s, we had a meeting with Galway United, Joe Hanley and Joey Malone, manager, upstairs in Joe Hanley's shop. I think it was Mike Corbin, myself and Tom were at it. Nearly 100% that's where we wanted to become a nursery for them. So they decided there, and to this day I can't remember what happened, because it was decided at the time that we'd be the nursery, and it was in the papers, I think. The Corrib Rangers were going to be a nursery for Galway United, but they never interacted after that with us. For some strange reason, I don't know what happened, because we actually at the time had a man, it was Mike Corbett, I think, that had him, in McDonald's. His name was McConkey. He was the manager.
Malcolm McConkey, yeah.
And we were saying to them that we thought that what Galway United should do is start at under 14 and pick the best 20 under 14 players in town, and from all clubs, and bring them up training with Galway United for one night a week, and bring them to all their away matches and home matches, and get the other clubs, if they were playing Shamrock Rovers, ask Shamrock Rovers to be down on the 14s, and play them in a match before the League of Ireland match, and keep them all the way up until 18, and then they join Galway United. But while they were with Galway United, they could still play for Corrib Rangers, Salt Hill, Review, but nothing ever happened. You know, I don't know where it went out the window, but it didn't happen anyhow. So
yeah, but it just shows that the committee was always looking to kind of develop and to progress and to create, as I said, what they call a player pathway. And then you touched on it earlier as well, Martin, that you said that there was an occasion where the guys had come of age and their option was to go into the 4th division.
Yeah, so we had a meeting.
What year now are we talking again, Martin?
I don't know. Say no good at them years now.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense of that.
Yeah, it was Johnny Welcher playing junior now, and those guys, and Mark Kane and all them, really great team. But I don't know what year it was. I remember, I don't know, I was even involved at the time at the meetings. I'm not sure if I was involved about going into the junior, but I remember, and the Galway Fair were sticking by the rules, like they were. So
you had a standout crop coming out of minor.
Oh yeah.
At 18.
Yeah.
And you're saying, look, now is an opportunity to hold on to these and go junior. Sat down with the Galway Fair.
But the Galway Fair were right. You know, they were only going by the rules.
Yeah. Because it was someone's place, wasn't it?
Pardon?
It was someone's place in the higher division.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I often got the feeling, were they afraid? You know, I often got the feeling, was the Galway Fair saying, we let those guys straight into the 1st division, they might win it. Or the Premier Division, you know, because we were good at the time, you know. But and then again, as I said to you earlier, you know, that if we fought it a bit more, we might have got into the 2nd division or something. Oh, man. He keeps fucking ringing me like I can't tell him to stop. I don't know why he doesn't ring his mother.
You're alright.
Well, that's going on that now.
No, it's grand. I can edit it all out. So you have this proposal to put a team in, and the Galway Fair saying, okay, you'll go into the bottom division. Yeah. And the club then thought, no.
Well, I'd say it was more the players than the club.
Yeah.
You know, the club kind of left it to the players, I think. I think the club said to the players, what do you think, lads? And they said, we're going to play in the 4th division. You know, but I think it was down here that way. The club, no, I'd say, were saying at the time as well, you know, they were too good for that, but we didn't go in and we decided we'd go decline it, and the lads went off to different places, Hibs and Merview and different clubs, like, all still doing well. And after that, then Ireland started playing for Galway United, you know. So
and I know that there was
they were our guys, like, you know. But
and a good few went to Hibs and won some kind of cups and stuff there, and that.
Yeah.
There was a generation there that they certainly benefited, didn't they?
I think a few of them went to Hibs and they won 1 or 2 kind of cups up to 18, 9 at that time, and then they moved on.
Yeah. We're getting there now, Martin. I suppose, looking back, when you look back on it, you mentioned there you had a great sense of pride when people salute you, because obviously that they recognise the contribution that you gave them or whatever. But looking back, how do you remember, you know, or how do you look back, and what's your memories of it? How do you recall it? Is it fond memories? Is it missed opportunities? Is it a fondness, or is it...
Great memories. Fun. I always have fun and enjoyment. I used to, regardless of weather, I used to love going up. 2 footballs or 3 footballs on my back, going up to the west side, and
couple evenings a week.
We used to only maybe go one, and maybe on Saturday if we had no match, and they had a match on Sunday.
Yeah.
We train on Saturday and play on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't bring them out at night, like, some of them were too young.
Yeah.
You know, and with no lights, we had nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it was great, because no one ever not turn up.
Yeah.
You know, for training or anything, they'd all be there. You know, sometimes you've
many.
Oh, they'd be 20, or sometimes they'd be 30. You know, just to keep running around, especially when they're younger, 11 or 12, they'd be just running around the place. You know, and I used to get them when I was in a circle, I'd sit them down around the centre circle, and I'd be talking to them for about 5 or 10 minutes, but then some of them were getting agitated, and they want to get up and start kicking the ball, and they'd say, Martin, when are we going to play? In a minute. So 10 minutes later, when are we going to play? All I wanted to do was keep them quiet for a few minutes, you know. Yeah. They get up, then they're a great crack, you know.
But you had 4 kids yourself. You were busy raising your own family.
5. 3 girls.
3 girls, sorry, I thought you had 2 girls. So 5 kids yourself.
Yeah.
Where did you get the time to be doing all this? Or why did you feel...
Well, when they started playing themselves, it was easier, but when they weren't playing,
but you just felt
Pauline have to look after them, that was it.
And you just felt this is something you want to do to contribute to the community.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think of the like of Mike, like, and those guys, they were there years before me, you know, and we was having Tom and 10, you know, but everyone had families, but you just had to do it. Yeah. You know, it was all right putting up with the training and stuff like that, but then you'd have to come in with the big bag of gear. Just hand it to the wife, go down and do the washing, wash the gear, like we wanted tomorrow or something, you know.
Yeah. That was the way it was.
That's the way it was, yeah.
And a line of orange jerseys out the back of the house.
Out the back. But,
year after year.
Yeah, as I said there, I think one year there was 3 or 4 of them got £20 for washing powder for the year. It's hard to do one wash, but we thought it was great.
I'm sitting down on Friday with 2 of your former players, Declan Fahey and Johnny Welch, are coming in.
I know about Johnny now. But Declan not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come in and they're gonna give a few stories maybe from a player's perspective. Yeah. Martin, just to finish, with regards to the club, what's your hopes for the future for the club?
For Rangers? He says, as I said, I'd love to see them. You know, I'd love to see them. I think they've gone a bit down at junior football. You know, but you know that's happening, I think, to all the clubs in Galway. But I'd love to see them getting a proper structure at underage, because they have top class facilities now. You know. Yeah. I mean, when we were playing with great teams, we had nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. And someone may say you had, but we hadn't. You know, we had nothing. But I just love to see them getting in, and as I said, I was never a coach. I'd always call myself a trainer, but I think at this stage you have to bring in someone as coaches. And if you teach a child at 11, 12, 13, you won't need coaches when they're gone up to 15, 16, they'll do it themselves. They'll progress themselves to the top. And I think the junior side should get on a huge kind of a structure and start bringing in young fellas, and you have to lose before you can win. That's the thing I find about it. You know, you put out a young team, you might get beaten, but if you get instilled into them, you know, you're going to win eventually. You know, if they get that attitude, the players, that'll do them. They'll eventually win, because they'll have it in their heads, we're going to win. You know, but if you start off and you're losing, and everyone says, you get out, you're no good, then it won't work. You know, I always said you have to, we had, when I was playing for Bows, we used to have little membership cards, and we used to have a spiritual director, a priest from St. Joseph's, and always on the top of our little membership card was, be modest in victory and unruffled in defeat. And I always remember it, and I used to tell little kids in Corrib Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't know, some of them know what unruffled was, but they thought I think it was beating each other up or something. But they're good crack, listen to it. So
yeah. Well,
that's
Martin,
all right, like.
As I said, the club is going to be celebrating its 50 years, and it's a serious milestone. And without the efforts of yourself and plenty of others,
There was a lot more than me now, like, you know. Now for our people, you know, I was up there, so was Tom and Mike and all that. Mike deserves probably more praise than anyone else. He was the founder, you know. And as I said to you earlier, like, you know, if he didn't found that club, I didn't know where to be in Corrib Park, you wouldn't know. Would someone else have started? I don't know, but he took it on, he done it, so.
And it was needed in the community as well, wasn't it?
Badly.
Yeah.
As I said, like.
Because there weren't easy times back then.
Not really, no. And the council present the houses like with little fences around them and no chimneys, nothing else. So we had to do all that ourselves, like, not just me, everyone in the estate.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so. But it was great neighbours.
Yeah.
Great neighbours. You know, they still are great neighbours around the place, you know.
No, as I said, from meeting the others, there's a great sense of community. Keeps coming back to that, the community and what everybody did and how it pulled together. And I think it's a great example, 50 years later, of what a community can do and how the legacy of working together can last and can still resonate amongst the next generation and the next generation. And
someone has to keep it going, you know. It'd be a disaster if it was lost, but the facilities are getting better. They have to find the players. A lot of young people coming into Corrib Park now, and young kids starting to go up. They need to grab them. You know, grab them and let them ruffle around there, and then start coaching them when they're 12 years of age or something like that, and make them better players. And but as I says, one thing is being a better player, but if you haven't the right attitude, and if you don't love the game, and if you can't have a bit of crack, I don't think you'll ever get anywhere.
Well, on that, because you said a bit of crack, we leave it there because I can certainly get a sense of the crack coming off you and the fondness of the memories over the years. It's still there.
Yeah, even now, like, you know, when I open my door in the morning, I see Tom Murray coming down. You know, I see Tom with the lads playing this week. You know.
It's a great start point, isn't it, for the
It's
chat?
the lads playing this week. I mean, I've nothing got through them for years, but I still say, are the lads playing this week? And Tom would say, oh, I was up there last week, you know, and I was watching them, and you know, this is fellas that have been with them for the last 30 years, like, you know. But
I suppose it never kind of leaves you either, does it?
not at all, no. But I go up, as I said, when I see them train now in the summertime, you see them up around, I go up watching, looking around the place, and they all know me, like. Pauline often says to me, or even young grandson now, Stephen, he'd be with me, you know, and he'd say, oh, them fellas know you. I say, I don't know. And he'd say, who's that? I don't know.
As Tommy Lally would say, he was just wave and he goes, you broke my heart, whoever you were.
Yeah. But Tom will have different stories now than me or something, but I have that crap, he's still on. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't want to, that's what I'd want to, what I wrote there is what I really appreciate, you know, and mention to people. You know, the players have been mentioned by someone, you know. I thought all the players were stairs.
Yeah.
I didn't think your man was up here, this was down there. Didn't mean nothing to me. Didn't mean nothing to me. Once he came with his gear and everything else.
Yeah, we certainly get a sense of that because of the inclusion that was important to you.
I never say make once. I was so bad, I'll tell you a funny story. You can include it if you want to. We're up training one time, under 14 team. We're a good enough team, mind you, but two fellas appeared on the sideline. There were people with them. I never saw them before. I didn't know who they were. So went in after the train out and dressed, and this man asked me could he see me, so I went out and real Connemara accent. He said, I had two young lads, he said, they were up watching. Can they join up? And I said, they can, yeah. But I said, it's a long way to be coming in from Connemara, I said, like to be playing. Didn't matter, I'd be in every Saturday. So two of them joined up, I know, one fella was playing centre back, a huge fella. He was very good. And the other fella up around front somewhere and played as well, so two of them ran the team, and the lads were having great crack over them and everything else, and signed the forms and sent them into the FA and everything. So about 6 games into the league, and I think we're 6 or 7 points ahead of the league or something like that. And we got a letter from the FA. The two boys are over age.
Oh, jeez.
But that was us.
Yeah.
You know, they told me their age. I said, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I never checked the date of birth. They were a few months over age. So I just said to the FA, look, just take the points off us, it doesn't matter. So then I had to go to the two lads and said, you're over age. Oh, they said, we're sorry about that, sir. And they came to every match after that, and they couldn't play.
Yeah.
You know, that's the...
And it clearly was more disappointing for you that you couldn't play them
yeah,
than losing the points you
but
didn't play.
the rest of the lads then says, I said, we're after losing all the games, lads. The two boys are over age.
Sound.
They didn't care. You know, why, yeah? Two Connemara, I didn't know who they were.
So be careful now next time you're up in Connemara, you'll be hearing, Martin.
Yeah, but you know, we just got them to sign the forms, and I says, we're age, we're under 15 or 14, right, Grant?
Yeah.
But they took all the points off us. They were right to take them off us. Like, they could have thrown us out of the league, but they didn't, because we had a laugh over it, we didn't care.
Yeah. Martin, I have to say it's a pleasure to sit down with you, an absolute pleasure, and great fun, and I was looking forward to it, and you didn't let me down. Thanks very much.
Good,
Thanks very much.